Right, John Raath is the co-founder of a business called MyGenius, which develops new business ideas. Perhaps you can start us off and tell us, MyGenius, how did it come about and how long have you been around?
So it's really meeting two needs. One, guys in new businesses out there face two real big challenges. One, generally speaking, guys work in glorious isolation. So they're needing support, they're needing partnerships, they're needing skills to help them bring their businesses to fruition. Secondly, all small businesses battle with marketing. So it's really a question of building an online brand, collaborating with the right people here and abroad to get their new technologies and their new businesses onto a firm footing. So that's what mygenius.com is really all about.
And I guess put together to try and narrow that horrible statistic that says 2 out of 3 businesses will fail within, 1 or 2 years.
It's tragic, and that's the reality.
Before we move on, give us a sense of the community that you're talking about, the level of business, the type of businesses that subscribe to MyGenius.
Yeah, it's across the board, and that's the most extraordinary thing about this. I mean, South Africa is the engine room for new enterprise. I often hear, job creation is what it's all about. I don't believe so. I believe it's about enterprise creation, and in a global context, South Africa is a unique place. I mean, we've got great skills, a history of innovation in this country. We also have discerning consumers that you can play your new products off, and yet the real thing is that we're not in the global radar. So we can create, test, fine-tune products here before we get them out there. And in that regard, we've attracted some extraordinary individuals who are doing some amazing things with the intention and the ambition of going global. So this is a testing place, a place of great collaboration and throwing ideas around. And of course, everyone in the process is learning a great deal.
Now, the question is, have you surveyed these people before on issues you've been around for 18 months and sort of tested whether they might be overly optimistic or pessimistic?
What we need to understand, that the core difference between a corporate and an individual in business for themselves is that the individual is entirely reliant on their own resources for their own wealth creation and more often for their own survival. And I think one of the things we're learning is that to survive in this increasingly complex and difficult environment, guys are having to say, what business am I really in? What should I be focusing on? Should I be relying on putting my unique technology on the table and collaborating with a guy in India and another guy in America to bring this about, as opposed to building the whole shop here? So people are becoming, in response to the complexities that we're facing, people are becoming smarter, frankly, to deal with it. We're dealing here with a community that is highly mobile, hugely skilled, as I said, reliant entirely on their own skills and experience. Today, they're collaborating through the Genius network around the world. There's no doubt that they might leave our shores. And I believe corporates and banks have a huge responsibility in that, in terms of engaging with these communities. Because there's South Africa is a vibrant economy, but it's not getting down to the small guys, the skilled guys who are really up for it at the end of the day.
What's going to happen to the venture capitalists that put seed capital into these type of businesses? Is this going to scare them off?
It may. My main point on that, however, is that the venture capital market in South Africa hardly exists for the kind of enterprise that we're talking about. But we've got venture capital partners coming in from abroad. Last week, somebody came in from Canada and said, these are my criteria. Now, if you compare the criteria for funding new technology businesses that we've got from overseas, compared to the guys who are in the high street here, it's extraordinary. The chaps overseas are more willing because there's a sense in which innovation in South Africa has a real footing and a history here. The key point is collaboration. On our own, we can't do very much. We've decided to start an events business with a particular nuance, and I've got a website, and I'm trying to get some overseas clients. The fact of the matter, with my own resources, I can't take this on. But suddenly I get around the table with 5 other people. We actually refer to it as a board of advisors, where small businesses now are engaging online with other guys almost as a board of directors. And in that lot, people are throwing ideas around saying, well, hold on, that business is too small. Why are you operating in this way? There's a bigger opportunity. If I put my little piece onto the table, the other chap puts his technology, suddenly we've got something more significant. So it's about beefing up what it is that we're trying to do through this innovation. Not working in isolation, but collaboration. A
chap in Montague in the Western Cape that 2 years ago made his house completely independent of Eskom's supply. People thought he was crazy. Now they're phoning him up saying, how did you do it? How can we get onto the same system?
Here's the weird thing, Byron. Most people who stand up and say, I've got a great product, we look at them and we think they're nuts. And very often it's just a timing thing. And that guy from Montague if he had spoken in late December, he wouldn't have got an audience. He's getting a huge audience today. That's the difference. We need to take these innovations more seriously and back them at an earlier stage.
John Raath from MyGenius.